Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. I am your host, Debra, and I'm really pleased to be here. And today I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk a bit about me and my personal experiences with my health and fitness journey, my dieting experience, and my quest to becoming a healthier, happier version of myself, and why I can relate to a lot of the experiences and struggles my clients have because I have experienced them myself. Now, I'm going to go right back to my childhood. So I'm currently 53, almost 54. And I remember my childhood distinctly growing up. I had the happy household. And I remember my parents, both of them, were on continued diets. I remember them being on the cabbage diet. I remember them doing Weight Watchers. I remember them doing the egg diet. I remember them doing all these crazy different diets. And as a kid, I was exposed to all this dieting, and I just grew up around it and just thought it was normal. And I also remember my mum saying to me that she felt like she'd been on a diet her whole life. And I think a lot of people might be able to relate to that. And it's not uncommon. And one of the reasons why I am so passionate about empowering women to improve their health and break free from yo-yo dieting is so that they don't have to feel like they've been dieting their whole life, because it is a relentless cycle that does not add to the quality of their lives, in the same way that at that time it didn't particularly add to the quality of my mum's life. Now, she has come a huge way since then. She is now 79 and she is living her best life. And funnily enough, for my mum, her constant battle in her younger years was finding moderation, and she has now been able to do that. And I'm going to cover off some of the past diets that I have done and the reasons why I started dieting and where I was. So that was my childhood. Now, as a teenager, like most teenagers, I was very body conscious. I was very sporty. I was very active. I was on all the teams. I wasn't particularly very good at any particular thing. I was what they called a good all rounder. And I loved my sport and I loved my activity. And I have always done as I've gone through into adulthood to today. But I do remember as a teenager always being, comparing myself to others, never feeling quite enough, and always wanting to be better. And when I say be better, I mean in terms of my body composition and appearance. Now, I remember when I first joined Weight Watchers, I was probably married at that point, and I joined Weight Watchers, and I remember going in and I remember weighing in weekly. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't particularly stick to very much of what they were trying to tell me at that time. And the thing is I worked in fitness at this time. I was a qualified gym instructor. I taught many, many classes. I was really, really active, but I lacked nutrition knowledge at that time. And obviously, it isn't like it is today, where there is so much more outlets to increase knowledge in terms of social media. There's a lot more talk about it. There's a lot more people talking about it. It's a lot more accessible. But back then, there wasn't really very much information. And on my course, the same as it pretty much is today, it's a very brief overview of nutrition knowledge. So I kind of had the physical side and the knowledge in terms of exercise, but not really in terms of nutrition. So I kind of dabbled in Weight Watchers, in and out over the years. I've always been a size 8 to 10 in my clothes. I've never particularly been really overweight in my life. There are times when I've gone up clothing sizes or felt uncomfortable in my body, but I've always kind of maintained roughly, I'd say maybe between 8 and 12 at my heaviest. I remember, so at this point, I had set up my running club and I was running hours every week. And I am going to be doing a separate podcast about running and all the amazing benefits that you can achieve from running. But one of the benefits that most people think running gives them, as did I in the very beginning, is that running is going to help you lose weight. And yes, you do expend calories running. However, it's a little bit more complex than that because running also increases your appetite. And so it's not uncommon to eat back the calories that you're expending from running. But at that time, I had a very high expenditure. I was, running, I was going to the gym, I was doing all sorts of activities. When I went to the gym, I did more cardiovascular exercise because I thought that unless you were sweating, you weren't really doing a workout. And it was only when I was struggling with so many injuries, and I used to see a regular physio, and she used to kind of fix me up, patch me up, send me off again. And I'd had many steroid injections into knee joints, hip joints, you name it, I've had it. And there was one occasion I went to my physio, it was probably the last time I saw her, and she said to me, I am no longer going to treat you unless you do something about this and do something preventative to support you in not getting injured. And I like looked at her like she was mad. What do you mean you're not going to treat me? Of course, you always treat me. You always fix me and you always get me back on my feet. And she said, you need to get to the gym and you need to start resistance training. Now, I was a qualified instructor and I could instruct other people around a gym, but I never did it for myself because all I ever did was cardio in the quest for weight loss and expending calories and that feeling you get when you're sweating and your heart rate's elevated without actually understanding, was what I was doing benefiting what I wanted to achieve? And it clearly wasn't. So I went in the gym, I dabbled about in the resistance equipment, I kind of started strengthening my legs. Lo and behold, I did get stronger. I did start working on supporting my joints, which it helped me in my running and obviously my day-to-day life. But it was not long after that when I started that, and I was now in my 40s, and I woke up one day and I just felt middle-aged. That's the only way I can describe it, right? I pride myself on being quite a young mum, active, although I wasn't young in terms of age. I was always the oldest mum in the school group or one of the oldest mums. I've got 3 kids, and I was particularly one of the older mums for my youngest child, who is now 16. But I felt young and I did young activities. But I woke up one day and I felt uncomfortable in my body. And I can only describe it as I felt middle-aged. I could see changes. I'd entered perimenopause. I had started on HRT and I just felt like I wasn't feeling myself. And so at that time, Joe Wicks, his body coach program, was the thing that everybody was doing. And so I signed up to the body coach and I did it for 3 months. And during that time, I never stopped cooking. I did all the HIIT workouts. I got results in terms of I lost weight. I graduated from the body coach program and I looked around me, having left the program, and realized I had learned absolutely nothing. I had learned nothing about nutrition. I had learned nothing about how to maintain the results that I had achieved. I had no idea what to do. And all I knew is that I had eaten separately from my family for months, and I was fed up of cooking relentless meals daily for months. And I was now left feeling, what do I do now? I have no skills to maintain my results or go forwards. So I kind of drifted for a while. I don't know, maybe 6 months. I kind of drifted. I tried to do my best with what I knew. And I was in the gym one day and I was chatting to my gym buddy, and he had told me that he had signed up to an 8-week transformation. And my ears pricked up. And I thought, oh, okay, that sounds good. 8 weeks. I can commit to 8 weeks. And feeling goalless, directionless, that's even a word, I decided that I was going to do this 8-week transformation. And the best thing I felt about the 8-week transformation was the opportunity to do a photo shoot in a gym after the 8 weeks. And I don't know why, because I was quite shy. I never took selfies. I never took my phone into the gym. I certainly didn't record my lifts or anything like that. But for some reason, this photo shoot at the end of 8 weeks had appealed to me. And obviously Instagram was a thing now, and I was being exposed to a lot of this kind of stuff on social media. So I signed up for this 8-week transformation. Now, it was better than the body coach in the sense that I learned how to track calories. And I also had the flexibility to choose the food I wanted to eat as long as I hit my targets. And the training as part of this 8-week transformation was gym-based, and I learned how to lift properly. And I got hooked in the gym, and I absolutely loved it. And I noticed that I was getting stronger and my body was changing in terms of my physique and my body composition. So you may relate to this when you say you want to tone up. What you mean is you want to increase your muscle mass, because it's your muscle mass that gives you the toned look, and decreasing your body fat so that you can reveal and see the muscle mass is how you become toned. And this was what I was noticing about my body. And I also realized that lifting weights was so empowering. That feeling of strength, the reduced risk of injury that I was experiencing, the strength that I felt, I knew I was kind of onto something. And lo and behold, at the end of 8 weeks, I did take part in the photo shoot, which was completely unnatural for me, but it was a fantastic way at that time to celebrate the hard work I had done and the achievements I had made. Now, what I didn't realize, and this is really key, what I didn't realize at that time, and what I have since learned, because that was quite some time ago, is that these transformations, these quick fixes, these PDF programs that are rolled out to the masses, like the body coach, all these quick fixes, transformations, fad diets, slimming clubs, diet clubs, what they don't give you is the support and knowledge in order to maintain your results. And I didn't realize that at that time, because I was caught up in this cycle of yo-yo dieting. Because every time I got to the end of the transformation or the body coach, or I achieved my weight, whether it be at Weight Watchers, which I hadn't done for years by this point, but it leaves you feeling a little bit bereft and a little bit lost as to what you do and how you do it to maintain your results. And that these diets didn't do the deeper work that is needed in order to understand your behaviors, my behaviors, as to why I did what I did, and to understand that, and to also work on improving relationship with food and understanding why I needed to do certain things in order to feel my best, to fuel my body, to aid recovery, and to make those changes that I was desperate to make to my physique. Now, my journey wasn't over at this point. At that photo shoot, one of the members of staff had said to me at that photo shoot, "Have you ever thought about competing, bodybuilding?" And I laughed, because I looked at him as if to say, "Are you mad? Why would I possibly want to do that?" Now, bear in mind, my husband and 3 kids were at that photo shoot with me watching, right? My life was far too busy to be thinking about competing. And I laughed and I sort of said, no, 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 definitely not for me. Plus, I love my food too much and I've seen what they all look like. No. Anyway, a few days later, what he said kept repeating in my mind because, again, like these diets do, you get to the end of them and it's like, what now? What now? And I can only describe it as I felt like a rowing boat that was cast adrift and I was just drifting and I didn't know what to do. And, I had a good, I was doing my running sessions. I loved my club and all the people in it and everything was going well. But I just felt that I wanted my own goal of my own and I no longer had one. And so I went onto Google and I Googled bodybuilding shows within a 10-mile radius and found one that was in 6 weeks. I contacted a prep coach that I had been following on Instagram because she made good recipes. And I contacted her and she said, oh, 6 weeks isn't very long, but you know what? I'll take you on. She took me on. She was a very good coach. And as healthy as bodybuilding can be, she had a very healthy approach, although it isn't actually a very healthy sport, which I'm not going to get into today. But I ended up competing. I did 5 years of bodybuilding prep with 4 competitive seasons. I did well. I loved it. I learned a lot in terms of nutrition. I learned about mental resilience. I learned how to train. I had become quite an experienced lifter. I learned about discipline. I learned about so many things that they're still in the background of things that I do, not necessarily in my day-to-day life, but I benefited a lot from bodybuilding. But again, it was almost like a prolonged weight loss goal that every time I stepped off stage and the season finished, I then gained a lot of weight because that kind of was the cycle in bodybuilding. And then I would lose it and then I would gain it. And all it was doing was perpetuating this yo-yo dieting cycle that I had pretty much been on since a teenager. And luckily for me, I decided to come away from bodybuilding, even though I had loved it and I had a lot of friends through the sport. I decided to come away and I found a coach who specialized in moving away from extreme dieting. And she has benefited me hugely. And before I gave up bodybuilding, it was in maybe my last year, I decided that I wanted to become a more holistic coach. And although I ticked so many boxes, I was lacking in an official nutrition certification. And I signed up to the best course in the industry, which specializes in not just the science of nutrition, but the application of it to real people who have lives, who have life pressures, who have commitments, families, who have limitations, who need support and hand holding. And like me, have been lifetime of yo-yo dieting and how to support them to come out of that and do the deeper work that's needed in order to support women. For me, I work with women. Obviously, it's applicable to men. And I did this course and I became a certified nutritionist. And it has been the missing piece of the puzzle for me. I didn't know I was missing it until a few years back when I did that qualification. And since then, I have kept up my knowledge. I reinvest in my knowledge. I go on to courses, seminars. I continue to learn, and it enables me to be the coach I am today. I have almost 3 years of coaching experience, one-to-one online coaching experience under my belt. Plus, I have worked in the fitness industry since I was 19 years old, and I have worked solely with women for the past 14 years. And I have listened and supported and helped women overcome all their dieting struggles, whether it be just as we're running along, pounding a street, whether it's through a phone call, or whether it's through my group coaching, which I've done in the past, or my more bespoke one-to-one coaching. And I will never stop investing in my knowledge and becoming, helping other women become more um, healthier, stronger, happier, and breaking free from that relentless yo-yo dieting cycle, which is no fault of their own. Just like it wasn't my fault. It's just kind of like the thing you think you should be doing. Sometimes people think they need to pursue fat loss because that's what you do, especially with January approaching. Oh, right, that's what we do. In January, we diet. But actually understanding why you want to lose body fat, how that's going to benefit you. Do you have a strong enough reason why? And are you prepared to do the deeper work that's needed so that you can successfully diet and maintain your results long term? And this is something that I do help my clients with. But what I just wanted to reflect on today in this podcast was giving you, the listener, an understanding that you may see me on social media and you may think that I have my shit together, but I can assure you that there are many times, even in recent times, where I really do not have my shit together. And if I knew now what I knew then, what I would say to myself is, you don't need 8-week transformations. You don't need PDF group coaching style quick fixes and all these diets that take you so far away from how you live your life, eating the foods that you enjoy eating, being part of your family, and understanding that you have a life outside of your goal of wanting to lose weight. If I had known that now, I would have started my deeper work so much earlier so that I could have been thriving years ago. So if you are listening to this and you can relate to any of the experiences that I have been through, I really do urge you to question why you're doing what you're doing and how much longer can you continue doing it, and is it serving you well? And before you sign back up to the dieting clubs that you do every year because they worked for you last time, ask yourself, if they worked for you last time, would you need to be going back again? Now, that's not to say that when you lose body fat, you are a human being. And as a human being, your body lives within a certain range. It's not going to stay in exactly the same place in terms of scale weight, body fat. Your body is, you're human. It's going to fluctuate up and it's going to fluctuate down. And the ideal place that you want to live is within a range where it may fluctuate. Sometimes it may be on the lower side, sometimes it may be on the higher side, but you live within this range and you will have the tools. Because if you get a coach, and this isn't just a plug for my coaching, if you get a good coach, they will give you the tools, a good coach anyway, but they will give you the tools to be able to understand and increase your own knowledge so that you can manage yourself going forwards and be able to maintain the results you get and not make it a quick fix, not yo-yo diets. And I guess this is what I wanted to emphasize in this podcast, alongside my personal experiences and my yo-yo dieting experiences and my quest for finding moderation. And do you know what? I remember distinctly being in the gym, chatting to my little group of gym buddies. And I don't know what we were talking about, but I've openly said on social media that I used to be a Nutella addict. I'm a recovering Nutella addict. And I'm talking about the big jars that you can buy in Costco. And I would think nothing of spooning it out, right? Half a jar. And I remember going into the gym and saying to my buddies, oh my God, Nutella, I just can't control myself around it. I'm all or nothing. I just want to find moderation. All I want to do is find moderation. And I never thought that was going to be possible. I am a very all or nothing person, but I can tell you now that I have become a moderate person. It's unbelievable. And I talk to my mum about this, and we talk about this, and I have become more moderate, a lot more moderate. And this has come about after letting go of yo-yo dieting, doing the deeper work, and understanding how to feel healthier, because it's all about how you feel, how to feel healthier, how to feel stronger, how to feel happier. And when you have all these things in line, weight loss will occur as a side hustle to you living your best life and having a healthy relationship with food, coming away from the all or nothing mentality. And I think I'm going to leave this podcast here, because I feel like I've covered my dieting background, the lessons I have learned, and my messaging to you, and thought-provoking messaging to you in questions to ask yourself, and finding out what you want to achieve, and are you doing the right thing in order to achieve that. Now, if you are interested in coaching, because I am a good coach, I'm a really good coach. I am coaching women one-to-one online, but they are all part of a supportive community. We have get-togethers from time to time to bring people together, to encourage connection, and to have new friendships with people who are all on the same path as them, improving their health, wanting to feel good. My average demographic is about 40 to 60 years old, all female, and they are becoming their healthiest, fittest, happiest selves. And if you are interested in coaching, then you can just message me on any of my social media platforms. All my social media links are in the show notes. You can also send me fill in a coaching inquiry form, which you'll find in the show notes and also linked in my bio, whether that be on Facebook or Instagram, or slide into my DMs. I love to hear from women. You may just have questions. No question is too small or too silly, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So please get in touch. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this. I hope you feel like you know me a little bit better. And I'll leave you with this, something I say to my clients when we have weekly check-ins, where they check in on a one-to-one basis. And I reassure my clients and I say, there is nothing this is if I feel a client is holding back. And I say, there is nothing you can do or you haven't done that would shock me, that I haven't done or didn't do myself. And I coach without judgment, and I am here to support you, not judge you. So always have open and honest communication with me so that I can coach you to the very best of my ability. Have a great day, and I look forward to catching up with you on the next podcast. Thank you for listening. And remember, subscribe and share this podcast to your stories. You can do that from Spotify. Share it, because if you have any friends that would benefit from listening to my podcast, this is now episode 6. There are other episodes that they may find helpful as well. So thank you very much.